Hi, it's Mr. Barr, and this is the pre-test for functions. So my first one, I'm given a table, and I'm told that it's linear, and asked to find the rate of change. Rate of change is just a fancy word for slope. So I'm going to find the change in x. So to 1 to 2, it changed by 1. Find the change in y, which is 0.99. This is the rise, that's the run. I put rise over run, and I get 0.99. I'm going to create the slope-intercept equation for this linear function. So I start by finding the change in x. So negative 3 to 0 is plus 3. Negative 3 to negative 1 is plus 2. So plus 3, plus 2. That's my rise over run. There's my slope. This is my rise. This is my run. Slope is rise over run. Then I need to go find my intercept. This is not my intercept. Why? It's not 0. This? Nope. It's not 0. This one? Yes, it is. Why? Because it's at 0. So my intercept's at negative 1, right here. And I plug it into y equals mx plus b. Plug in my m, which is 2/3. Plug in my b, which is negative 1. And there's my answer. I'm looking for points that make this equation work. So each of these points is an x comma y, x comma y, x comma y. So I'm going to plug in the x, plug in the y, and see if it works. So we'll start with 0, 0. I plug in the 0, I plug in the 0. 0 equals 7. That does not work. I plug in the 19, I plug in the negative 3, I evaluate it. So negative 4 times negative 3 is 12, plus 7 is 19. 19 equals 19, yes, that works. I plug in the negative 1, I plug in the 3, plug in the negative 1, plug in the 3, evaluate it. 3 equals 11, doesn't work. Plug in the 5 and the negative 13, 5 and negative 13. That gives me negative 20 plus 7, which is negative 13. So negative 13 equals negative 13, that does work. And plug in the 2 and the 15, and that does not work. Which of the following is a function? Well, looking at this guy, this is not a function. Looked at 3 is getting a 1 and 3 is getting a 4, so 3 is being greedy, so not a function. This one, if I do the vertical line test on it, I see that it is a function. And this one, that's just a slope-intercept equation, which is a function. And this guy, although it's not linear, it is a function. Now we're going on to linears versus nonlinears. This guy's linear. It's actually just a line in standard form. This, you see that square, makes it not linear. See that cube, makes it not linear. Does not make a straight line, not linear. And this is just slope-intercept form. Y equals 4x plus 0. Y equals 4x plus 0. Number 6, we need to create the equation for this. So I'm going to find my change in x, which is 2, my change in y, which is 0.5, and I'll put them over each other. This is my rise, and this is my run. So I do rise over run, and I get my slope. I need to go get my y-intercept. Is this it? No, it's not 0. No, it's not 0. No, it's not 0. No, it's not 0. I have to back this thing out. So 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0, 4.5, 4, 3.53, 2.52. There's my intercept right here. That's my b value. So b is 2 right here. So I put it all together. So y equals mx plus b. Y equals 2.5x plus 2. But it says in the question, use w for weeks and h for height. So I'm going to swap out w for the x and h for the height. H equals 0.25w plus 2. All right. This one, I've got a bunch of ordered pairs, x comma y, x comma y, x comma y. I'm going to plug it in for x and y and see which ones work. So if I plug in 0 and 0 right here, 0, 0, this does not work because 0 does not equal 7. If I plug in If I plug in negative 4, 9, negative 4, 9, it does work. If I plug in 8, 3, it does work. If I plug in negative 6 and negative 10, it does not work. And if I plug in 10 and 12, it also does not work. So these are the two that work. I just plug in the x, plug in the y, see what works. Alright, from B to C, it's decreasing right there, and decreasing, that's true. From D to E, it's constant, it's constant, that's true. From E to F, it's increasing, E to F, it's decreasing, that's false. On this one, I need to match the equation with the table. A couple of ways to do that. One way I can actually narrow it down by looking at the slope. From 1 to 2, it went up by 1, and from negative 2 to negative 6, it went up by 4. So the slope is actually 4 over 1. You know what? This is a negative. Negative 4 over 1. So automatically I can narrow it down to C and D. But then I have to plug in some values. So these are actually, let's plug in, what did I use? I was using negative 2 and 10. If I plug in a negative 2 right here and a 10 right there, what happens? Plug in a negative 2 and a 10. That becomes 10 equals, what's that, 6? 10 equals 6, which does not work. But if I plug it into the last one, negative 2 and 10, I get 10 equals 10, which, you can't see what I'm doing, 10 equals 10, which does work. So when I plug these points in, it works. And that would work for any point. So if I plug in a 2, negative 2 times 2, no, excuse me, negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, plus 2 is negative 6. Look, negative 6 just came out. If I plug in a 1, negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, plus 2 is negative 2, out comes a negative 2. All right. And that's that video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. What was this? Pretest functions.